Hello, Project Catalyst. My name is Steph McCurdy, and I am walking through the closeout of this project, the UTXO Alliance Content Manager number 1100285. In this project from Fund 11, we asked for 71,425 ADA, which at the time was about 50,000 of US dollars, to hire a content manager to help produce over 12 months of running the UTXO Alliance. The UTXO Alliance is an aggregation of layer one blockchains and applications building on the UTXO model. This includes the extended UTXO model, stateful UTXO model, the common knowledge base, et cetera, et cetera. So the Alliance aggregates technical builders, operations people, and marketing and content people who are all driven to advance the best of the UTXO model. Cardano, which pioneered the extended UTXO model, and the development team, IOG, are deeply involved in the UTXO Alliance. So I just want to highlight some of the things from the past year over what was accomplished, what we did, what we learned, and uh, to show you what we completed. So this was in the open ecosystem category. And at the time, what the goal was for that challenge was to fund great ideas, provide value through community and educational outputs, and then promote and collaborate across ecosystems. I think we did that in spades. So the top three highlights that I want to point to, which I'll just come down here on the report, are, of course, there are the milestone closeouts, which include the outputs of engagement, the outputs of kind of the statistics of what happened, the growth in follower count or the number of impressions. Those are visually mapped. Um, but the main highlights here as top three examples were growth in the Alliance membership. So we had a great year for growth. Three of those highlights were two layer one blockchains and one application, Zengate, that went across Ergo, Cardano, and is expanding to more. Hathor Network joined the UTXO Alliance. Great team building on the UTXO model there. And then Quai Network of layer one that launched February of 2025 also joined the UTXO Alliance. And really nothing better can happen for our alliance than adding layer one blockchains and other applications like Zengate. So this is a huge win for us. Their participation was excellent. A lot of new people came in because of that. Um, and that really instigated what needed to happen for a long time, which was educational and high-end technical material about the UTXO model. So because we hired such an excellent content manager who was a PhD in physics and a former developer relations at IOG, who understood the UTXO Alliance, together with myself and several others, we built a handbook. And this handbook, which is one, open sourced, and the GitHub is available here. Two, is a PDF handbook where I'm going to go to just the Google Doc version here because it's going to be a little easier to scroll through. But this is what's hosted on the GitHub. Basically, it's a table of contents and a whole visual language for understanding the core ingredients of blockchains. We break it down into 6 core ingredients, and then we build up from Bitcoin to Cardano to other layer one blockchains to walk us through kind of this expanded idea of what is the cryptography underneath of blockchains? How do transactions work and how do they fit into the UTXO model? What is the ledger and how does that compare to, let's say, the account model? What goes into a block? How are those blocks chained together? Let's get some examples like Bitcoin and others based on their development history. Let's look at some of the smart contracts and how all of this works. So this was taken as one of the major outputs of this whole work. And we built that into a physical book. which we are going to start shipping to make available at conferences and for people to hand out to friends and family as this educational aid to help explain what the UTXO model is and why one might prefer to build on those blockchains using that architecture. So with that, since we have a handbook, and because it's open source, what anyone is capable of doing now is taking that and building a course out of it. And so that's what I've done over at Wolfram Blockchain Labs. And this is going to be a course that walks through from beginning to end how one should think about the core ingredients of blockchains, how hashes and signatures work, transactions, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the great things about Wolfram language is that we have direct access to Cardano, running the nodes, doing the indexing, being able to read and write from within our mathematical language into and onto the Cardano blockchain. So this is really like an interactive course that takes both of the materials from the UTXO Alliance and also instantiates it in application. And just as a reminder, Wolfram Mathematica and Wolfram Alpha are used around the world at universities and institutions for students, scientists, and researchers. And so we think it's extremely important that these tools are right at the fingertips of students around the world. Lastly, we redid the website, updated it, and took control of it so that we can make new updates to it. It's fast, it's clean, it works great, and there's 3 key initiatives really here: join, learn, and build. When you join, you grow the alliance, you bring new resources, human power, relationships, you grow our network. To learn, we put the handbook at the center, build courses off of it. It's more than just a book, it's an open source living project. 3, build. We want to build technical standards. We want to take on new projects. We want to expand the UTXO Alliance and the main projects there. Obviously, this includes Hydra Head Protocol, Bitcoin OS, some of our own. Wolfram has an Echo feed for pricing infrastructure. Obviously, Rosenbridge between UTXO chains, Lightning Network to potentially scale things like Bitcoin, other ways to think about scaling, and UTXO Stack. Who else is building on top of these? And we have a lot more projects to add to this. So looking forward, what we learned, some of the outputs we were striving for was to grow developer mindshare and engagement and drive new hires to the UTXO ecosystem. I think we laid the foundation for what was missing over the past 12 months, and that included really a good, strong technical foundation for which people could educate ecosystems in. We expanded the network by bringing new layer 1 blockchains in, which meant more people were showing why and how to build on UTXO-based blockchains. And then to expand the website to make it easier for those to join, find the right information, and then begin participating was a huge win for us. So a lot of operations were built in this experience, a lot of educational content, and we did all of that with a very an excellent grant. But it was somewhat modest of a grant in the grand scheme of things to run off of maybe the equivalent of $50,000, which changed throughout the process. So I think we did a lot with a humble amount of resources, and so these are the final outputs here listed, and we're extremely grateful to the Cardano Catalyst ecosystem for funding this project. And with that, we close out our Fund 11 project. And we have 1 year of a prospective future calendar for the next content manager to take on. And we will be looking for who that would be and for funding that initiative. Thank you. And go Cardano.